the arrival. Please rise for the arrival of the official party, the national anthem, and the invocation. North Carolina Piedmont Region Consortium arriving. Rear Admiral, United States Navy, arriving. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Chaplain Wilma.
Let us bow our heads and let us pray. Our God, we ask for your presence this day as we celebrate the graduation and commissioning of the Naval Reserve Officers Training Corps here at NC State University. Thank you for bringing together our distinguished guests, the families and friends of our graduates, as well as the graduating class. We are here to honor these men and women for a job well done so far, and ask that you will be with each one of these sailors and Marines as they commit to the fulfillment of the duties of the sacred oath they are about to take. Thank you for sustaining these dedicated service members and their families through the many challenges they have overcome. We pray for their military careers as well as their personal challenges ahead. We thank you in advance for the unselfish service they will provide to our great nation and for the remarkable impact they will have on the future generations of sailors and Marines. Please remind them to always lead by example, inspired by the core values of honor, courage, and commitment. We especially thank you for all the instructors that have trained, mentored, and encouraged these graduates in every step they took, and we ask for your blessings upon them as well. May you grant these graduates with the strength they need to face adversity, courage to overcome fear, faith to overcome doubt, and joy and satisfaction in knowing that their service and their sacrifice to our country will be gratefully received by a thankful nation. Finally, we pray for your blessing upon our Marines and sailors who are deployed at this time. Please keep them safe from harm and bring them home soon. Thank you, God, for this opportunity to celebrate together, and I pray now that you will bless us with your holy presence. I ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Honored guests, proud families, friends, and graduates, welcome to North Carolina State University's NROTC commissioning ceremony. Today we will be commissioning 18 midshipmen or officer candidates as ensigns and second lieutenants into the United States Navy and Marine Corps. I encourage our guests who are still standing to please find a good spot to view everyone's commissioning until it's time for your student's commissioning ceremony. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our commanding officer of North Carolina Piedmont Region, Captain Andrew Hertel.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant Watson. And I tell you, it is great to see everybody here today. Thanks to all of us for joining us, so many of you in person, and so many from a great distance. Seeing so many three-dimensional people here today, you know, that's a nice thing. It's a nice change. I like it. But for the folks who are joining us remotely, you know, wonderful that you're able to join us as well. One thing this pandemic has taught us, you know, is how to stay better connected using technology. I also appreciate all the folks who drove here today in the face of uncertainty of another sort. I think this is a brief blip in fuel availability. This brief blip will be behind us here real soon. And by the way, on the way here, there were a couple gas stations open just down on Western Boulevard. Yeah, I've spoken to the commissionees at length about this, and they know today is an incredibly important day for all of them. But let's be honest here, this day is really for you. Okay? Sorry. I wasn't lying before, I'm just clarifying a couple points. Okay? We have senior officers here on the dais and out in the audience, but our primary guests of honor are the families and friends who have supported these midshipmen and officer candidates through their journey towards and then through NC State. So if you want to get up and take pictures, or have folks stand a little longer and smile one more time, that's great. We've been apart long enough that I think we can spend a little more time relishing and capturing our togetherness. So please, please do that. You know, when I was at my parents' house recently, I verified they still have a picture taken at this event back in 1994 on their refrigerator. So don't pass on the opportunities to create these memories for yourself. We just need to be smart about risk when we create those memories. Virtually all the uniformed folks here have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, but I'm not sure about the rest of the audience. I'll be shaking the hands of the commissionees. I'm fully vaccinated, but you know, none of us should be bothered if we don't shake hands amongst all the other guests. We greatly appreciate appropriate non-family member distancing, you know, but we encourage big hugs and whatnot inside families. So please, please do that. You know, so the pandemic has forced us to change the way we do commissionings. And although the form of this event has changed, the significance of the event has not. The taking the oath of office is a special thing, and it is meant to be impactful, which I know will be the case for all the people taking the oath today. The event we are about to conduct is the most significant in any officer's career. Promotions are nice, okay? They include a nice pay raise, maybe the ceremonial pomp and circumstance. You know, that's great. Maybe even get to take command of a ship or a squadron or a battalion one day. But none of those events are as significant as accepting the commission. There's no greater change than going from not being something to being something, right? No greater change from not being an officer to being an officer, which is the case right now for these young men and women sitting over to my left. And they're going to be commissioned officers here in just a few minutes. On taking the oath of office to commission as officers in the armed forces, you take on responsibilities beyond explanation in a few short remarks. And this change happens at the completion of a short but extraordinarily important oath. I want to take a couple minutes to elaborate on the history and the meaning of this oath. 1789, the first law passed by the first Congress of the United States was regarding oaths. Several revisions to that oath in the last 232 years have changed a few of the words, but the intent of the oath has not changed at all. Many of us here today, all important people in the life, growth, and development of our very soon-to-be ensigns and second lieutenants, have taken this oath before. It's worth it every now and then to remind ourselves, and those very soon-to-be officers, what that oath means. The oath is a public statement of personal commitment. We stand before friends and family, and we do solemnly swear. We swear to uphold a set of ideas which define a nation. We do not swear to support a person or a party. We swear we will support our Constitution and the form of government it creates. We swear we will defend our Constitution and the liberty it guarantees. You know, this sentiment about supporting and defending, it's pretty vague. It could mean a lot of different things. You know, it's not just a matter of following orders. This vagueness means we have to have critically thinking leaders, men and women of character, who can sort out what it means to go and support and defend, independent from leaders back home. Men and women who are not afraid to support and defend a set of principles which may from time to time require them to raise their hand and say, I disagree. And know that disagreement does not mean disloyalty. This brings up an interesting contrast with our oath and that of the former Soviet Union. Their oath requires officers to, quote, unquestioningly carry out the requirements of all military regulations and orders of commanders and superiors, unquote. Our oath demands we support the Constitution and the country whose course it directs. One oath creates followers. One oath demands critically thinking ethical leaders. We say we will bear true faith and allegiance to the ideas espoused in the Constitution. We make it clear that we are dedicating ourselves to the interests of our nation. We also make sure the person taking the oath knows that there can be no conflict between their heart and their head, that they have no mental reservations. This oath makes sure that they know they are committing and they're doing it by their own choice, that they take this obligation freely, with no ability to hide from it. You future officers are committing yourselves knowingly. You're committing to give your absolute best all the time, no matter the circumstances. We swear we will do our duties well and faithfully. Then we close this oath with the statement, so help me God. Compare that oath again to our oath again to the old Soviet oath, where they say, if I break this solemn vow, may I be severely punished by the Soviet people, universally hated and despised. Now, it's one thing to be hated, and it's another to let down an almighty. Our closing acknowledges that no stronger commitment can exist. I think it's a good thing for us to take a few minutes to remember what this oath is about. Every time we hear it, all of us who have served or are about to start serving should pause and reflect on what it means to take that oath. Take it as a call to stand a little straighter, or go that extra mile, or continue to be the moral and ethical leader our nation needs to sustain us far into the future. I'm excited to see these candidates take this oath today, and I know all our guests are too. The real purpose, though, of what I'm up here to do is introduce our guest speaker. Rear Admiral Shane Gagan is a naval flight officer with a breadth of experience in and around all sorts of platforms. Today, Rear Admiral Gagan has responsibilities to support all aircraft operated by the Navy and the Marine Corps and sustain them as they prepare to deliver a wide range of capabilities from the sea. And although everyone knows, Top Gun is not nearly as good a movie as Hunt for Red October. I mean, Admiral, am I right? See? All right. He knows what I'm talking about. They're making it. Hunt for Red October was so good they didn't need to make a sequel, too. Sorry. Naval Air Systems Command, where he leads now, make up the bulk of combat power our naval forces can deliver. That comes from the air. And Admiral Gagan started his journey in exactly the same place these soon-to-be officers are about to start their journey, right here in North Carolina and right here at NC State. Admiral Gagan, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate that introduction. It really is great to be here. And John, I want to thank you for all the great work. Randy sitting out there as well. Special thanks to all who planned and executed this event. Well done, side boys, everyone. I know this is a major event to put on. All the family members coming here, well done. Appreciate that. It is a great honor for me to be here today, be a part of this commissioning ceremony, not only for honoring these men and women and what they have achieved, but also an opportunity to come back to my alma mater. I'm a graduate of this great institution, chemical engineer. Go Pack. All right. Although the campus has changed much over the years, as I drove down the Reynolds Coliseum, I was overcome by those great memories of my time at State. My older brothers came here as well, and we continue to attend football games as time allows for the last 10 years. It is a great honor to say a few words as we celebrate the graduation and commissioning of 18 naval officers, 10 Navy, and 8 Marines. It's especially rewarding to meet and chat with some of you prior to the ceremony and some of the families. Emma Bircher, nice meeting you. I know Steve Decker's out there, nice meeting you. Mike Durkin and Mr. Dilday, who was in the Marine Corps for many years and now sells health insurance. Thank you, sir, for being here. For the midshipmen, I am the last speaker prior to your commissioning, and I'll keep it short, less than 20 minutes, I promise, because you really only have 2 choices during my speech. You can take a nap, or you can listen. Sleep science will tell you that if you nap less than 20 minutes, it does more harm to your body than good. So hence, my speech, and all my speeches will try to be less than 20 minutes, because if you choose to listen, it actually is better for you in the long run. I may have made all that up, but it's a good story, and it'll keep you listening. But before I begin, like Captain Hertel did, I want to thank the family and friends of our shipmates, not only for their support to this point, but all through your upcoming military career. You will depend on them as you progress through your upcoming training and tours. I can tell you that my wife and children have provided the bedrock support throughout my career. Don't underestimate the support structure needed to balance your career, the good and the bad moments. Build upon the structure and nurture the support. As I said, you will need it. As most people know, every speech, retirement, change of command, or promotion ceremony all start and usually end with an acknowledgement and recognition of the family and friends who helped along the way. It is a recognition by the naval officer that they didn't do it by themselves. Your graduation from NRTC program at North Carolina State is a major milestone in your career. Through the NRTC program, all you have learned, all the tools you have learned will prepare you for military service mentally, physically, and morally. These are the tools you will rely on for the rest of your military service, however long that might be, but more importantly, for the rest of your life. Today, I would like to emphasize the importance of leadership. I want to discuss why, now more than ever, leadership will be the deciding factor for our nation's success in the future. Our country and our military face numerous challenges. In order to execute the National Defense Strategy in support of our national security strategy, we must mitigate or overcome the challenges presented over the next decade. The challenge by security threats across the globe are numerous and more threatening than ever. They are more complex, and our adversary's military is more capable than we have experienced in many decades. The CNO stated in his recent NAV plan that, quote, "The Navy's strategic direction remains clear. We are engaged in a long-term competition that threatens our security and our way of life. As part of the joint forces, we will meet this challenge by deploying forward alongside our allies and partners to deter aggression and preserve freedom of the seas," unquote. The challenges will demand more of our military and the institutions that provide support. The NAV plan also states our sailors and Marines must be able to outthink and outfight any adversary. They will remain the best trained and finest educated naval force in the world. Our relentless approach to warfighting excellence will remain grounded in our core values. As I have mentioned, I firmly believe the deciding factor to ensure we are able to deter aggression and preserve freedom of the seas and meet the complex challenges will be the practice of leadership. Generally, we tended to think of leadership as a skill or talent that we are born with or not, the concept of the natural-born leader. We treated the topic of leadership as either you have the gift or you do not. We generally now focus on naval leader development training and treat leadership as more than an academic course. I contend, just like any other talent or skill, leadership requires constant practice to become an expert. I'm reminded of a book, I think most of you know it, by Malcolm Gladwell called Outlier, The Story of Success. The premise of the book is that it takes 10,000 hours of practice in any endeavor to become an expert. Essentially, the more you practice, the more skill and talent you develop. It is focusing on the deliberate daily effort or practice, generally more than the hours that one puts into the endeavor. So why is the added emphasis on the practice of leadership, and why is it so critically important to the military profession? As the management guru Peter Drucker said, there's only 3 things that happen naturally in organizations: friction, confusion, and underperformance. Everything else requires leadership. I'll say that once again. There's only 3 things that happen naturally in organizations: friction, confusion, and underperformance. Everything else requires leadership. I came across that quote about 15 years ago, and that has resonated with me ever since. For the military to win and fight during this period of long-term competition that threatens our security and way of life, we must execute flawlessly during peacetime and combat actions. More than ever, we cannot afford less than flawless execution at any level and suffer from friction, confusion, and underperformance. Now more than ever, we need experts in leadership. So what is leadership? Generally, it's believed is defined by the combination of integrity and character. Integrity is the firm adherence to a code of moral and ethical principles. It's telling the truth, keeping promises and commitments, and taking responsibility for one's mistakes. It is a matter of being who you claim to be and doing what you say you will do. Character underlies integrity. It is being trustworthy, reliable, being accountable, in the pursuit of excellence. However, these are hard characteristics in anybody to identify by themselves. Combining them, these two are essential for a leader. The other part ties into actions. What are the actions that show character and integrity? Because actions speak louder than words. What does a good leader do day in and day out? How does he or she interact with others? How, by actions, do leaders display integrity and character? The next couple minutes, because I'm probably getting close to 20, I'd like to highlight some real-life examples from my career and my interaction with some good and great leaders. I will share some nuggets that I have learned dealing with military, civilian, contractors who displayed leadership at all levels. And tidbits I took from seminars and articles that I try to do in my mental RAM and try to implement on a daily basis. Mental RAM meaning you don't have to think about it. It's like a pro golfer. They don't think about their swing. It should naturally, and you implement it all the time. So the first one, leadership first and foremost is about the ability to influence and communicate. Some of the best leaders I have served with had the trait of being extremely influential. They tend to be great communicators and have the ability to extract essential information from the underlying complexity and present it in clear and coherent manner. A former CNO, Admiral Roughhead, talked about communications and generally said it takes 7 times to get your point across. It takes 7 touches for a concept to be successfully communicated. People must hear it, see it, feel it, pick it up, turn it upside down, shake it, and hear it again before they will remember anything substantial about it. Influential leaders are known for their technical competence, for operating to the maximum extent of their duties, and above all, mission-focused. These combined with integrity and character set the stage for influence. You will not be a great leader or even a good leader if you cannot influence and communicate effectively. Great leaders tend to be 100% right all the time. If you're still listening and haven't taken a nap, I know that seems unrealistic. This does not mean that leaders do not fail. What sets them apart is they are very adept at changing their minds when they are wrong. They welcome inquiry and criticism, and you need to have a thick skin and heal quickly. You need to understand that you will make mistakes and fail, but by acknowledging them very quickly and correcting them, you will become a superb leader. Leadership is about preparation. You prepare yourself through continuous learning and training. In aviation flight test at Pax River, we discussed 2 different approaches to a flight test. One is the professional approach. The other approach is the gambler approach. The professional understands the complex environment of naval aviation and uses every available tool to ensure the safe outcome of a mission. They prepare. The gambler, who is usually very skilled and technically competent, does not take the effort to prepare adequately, relies on skills and luck, and risks the effective outcome of the mission. You need to prepare yourself thoroughly for the mission and do not be a gambler. Leaders enjoy their work. This is contagious for the workforce and is a force multiplier. You will be watched 24/7, and your attitude will affect the sailors and the Marines around you. Do not underestimate this effect. It is quickly noticed. When I served as an admiral's aide many years ago, the whole staff knew, just by the admiral's demeanor, body language, what kind of day it was going to be, and it had a dramatic effect on the mission, good and bad. Great leaders have passion about the mission and enjoy the challenges. Always, always show passion about your work and mission. The effects of having a positive attitude will greatly improve your results of you and your unit. Great leaders expect exceptional performance. If you do not strive for perfection, you and your unit will not achieve it. The best leaders focus on goals and are very clear on the mission to be done. They also empower subordinates to be flexible on the process on how to achieve the goal. You must be effective at collaboration and breaking down barriers. Bureaucracies do not get things done. Your people will get it done. Nothing of any real consequence is accomplished by its own. It takes a team and a leader. A leader and their team who collaborate achieve the mission and success, and leadership is the sharpest tool in your bag and the reason why missions are accomplished and effective. Great leaders are servant leaders. They connect with subordinates and spend most of their time serving the people who work for them. My former boss, political appointee, talked about this concept as a reverse organizational pyramid. Instead of the standard model of everyone serving the boss, the servant pyramid is flipped upside down. The boss is on the bottom and serves the whole organization. It takes humility to be a servant leader. You must display a level of humility to be a very great leader. Every meeting I had with my boss, political appointee, 2 or 3 times during the conversation, he would ask, "What do you need from me? What barrier do I need to break down for you to get the job done?" Be a servant leader. Great leaders are realists. They are best at handling unusual situations because they are prepared. Your odds of being successful are greater when you are prepared. A leader has to create a setting where there is a full vetting of ideas, where the expectation is that everyone provides suggestions. Leaders also do their duty no matter the circumstances. It is critical not to hope for better circumstances, but to make do with the resources available to you and work with them each and every second of the day. I will almost guarantee you your first squadron, if you go into aviation, you will not have enough sailors or Marines to work your engines. You will not have enough aircraft. You will not have enough spare parts. But you must do your duty under all circumstances. That's what leaders do. Great leaders are good at people skills. The best leaders squint with their ears. Listening is the most important skill for a leader. Too many leaders think about what they will say next rather than listen to what their subordinates, peers, or superiors are saying. You will never be a great leader if you don't master the skill of listening. Great leaders do not send "I don't trust you" messages. Trust is a key ingredient for an organizational success. Subordinates know, they know when they are not trusted and will never contribute to their full potential. Saying, "I never want to be surprised," "check with me before you start anything," "I need daily updates," send a very strong message of "I don't trust you." Leaders who are there to help and move barriers on the way to success will get the most out of people. So there's 9 of them there. And in summary, great leadership is a result of daily practice that eventually results in natural behavior. You need to be able to influence and communicate. You need to quickly change your mind when you are. You need to prepare yourself thoroughly. Always enjoy your work. Expect exceptional performance. Serve as a leader. Be a realist. Do your duty under all circumstances. Be great at listening. And don't send "I don't trust you" messages. There are many examples that I have learned over my career that I try to implement on a daily basis. I probably failed already because I'm probably over 20 minutes, and I didn't do what I said I was going to do, right? So, but it's critical you practice and refine your leadership skills every single day. Leadership is a full-time job, and a duty clock is never off. It'll be hard, and sometimes it'll be opposite of your instincts. However, you will be much more successful. Your unit will be much more successful. The Navy and the Marine Corps will be much more successful by accomplishing your goals with honing your leadership talent. Our country faces numerous challenges, and in your upcoming military service, your leadership will be crucial for our success. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk with you today. You ought to be very proud of what you've accomplished. I hope you take away a nugget or two of what I talked about. And again, thanks to the family and friends, active duty members, retired active duty, for your contributions and support for these soon-to-be commissioned officers in the United States Navy and United States Marine Corps. Thank you very much. Go Pack.
Thank you, Rear Admiral Gagan. Midshipman Burke will now present a gift to Rear Admiral Gagan as a token of gratitude from the Wolfpack Battalion.
Admiral, get a picture of the class autographed. Yes, sir. The pictures. Thanks for coming and talking to us. Appreciate it. Hopefully you got some wall space.
We will now present the Ensign Worth Bagley Leadership Award. Worth Bagley was born in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he received an education at the Centennial Graded School and at the Raleigh Male Academy. He was appointed by Congressman D.H. Bunn from the 4th District to the United States Naval Academy, from which he graduated in June 1895. Bagley spent the succeeding 2 years on several vessels of the North Atlantic Squadron, and after final examination was commissioned as an ensign on July 1st, 1897. He served on the Indiana and the Maine, and was invited to become executive officer on the Winslow, a torpedo boat. Following the famed destruction of the Maine, the Winslow proceeded to Key West, and on May 11, 1898, as the Winslow was engaged in a battle in the harbor of Cardenas, Cuba, where Bagley and 2 other sailors were killed in the performance of their duty. On arrival to Raleigh, Bagley's body lay in state at the Capitol building, and the funeral was held at the south end of Capitol Square, where he was interred with the honors of a brigadier general at Oakwood Cemetery in downtown Raleigh. The North Carolina General Assembly directed that a suitable spot on Capitol Square be set aside for a permanent monument to Bagley. Citizens of North Carolina then provided the funds, and on May 20th, 1907, the statue to the memory of the only American naval officer killed in the Spanish-American War was unveiled. The Ensign Worth Bagley Sword is presented to the Navy graduating senior, the most exemplifies the highest degree of scholastic achievement, military bearing, leadership, and personal demeanor. Delivering the sword today is Captain Andrew Hertel, to this year's recipient, Midshipman Ryan Burke.
Midshipman Burke, congratulations. This is an excellent presentation there for you. All right, congratulations. Since you're about to go get commissioned, we'll give this to you officially. Congratulations. I'm not keeping this. He's just going to have his hands full in a minute.
Thank you, Captain Hertel, and congratulations, Ryan. An officer's sword from the Marine Corps League will now be presented to the graduating Marine senior that most exemplifies the highest degree of scholastic achievement, military bearing, leadership, and personal demeanor. Delivering the sword this year is Mr. John Dilday, to this year's recipient of the sword, Midshipman Samantha Ward. Congratulations, Samantha.
On behalf of the Tar Heel Detachment of the Marine Corps League, it is an honor to present to soon-to-be commissioned Samantha Ward this sword. We wish her a successful and long career in the Marine Corps.
Thank you, Mr. Dilday, and thank you to the Marine Corps League for your continued support of our battalion. As Commanding Officer Captain Andrew Hertel already said, during today's ceremony, we're going to ask family and friends that are administering oaths, presenting insignia and covers, to join their midshipmen on stage. And this is a personalized and easily a once-in-a-lifetime moment, so just another reminder to take the time and opportunity to embarrass your students a little bit with hugs and extended photo opportunities. We will ask, however, that after your students have completed, there will be a time where I announce for you to please rise from your seats and allow the next group of family and friends to take their seats. And without further ado, Midshipman Madeline Bircher, United States Navy, will be joined on stage by Rear Admiral Andy Bircher, Zach Bircher, Joyce Riley, and Ensign Jack Woodworth. Midshipman Bircher's oath of office will now be administered by her father, Admiral Andy Bircher, United States Navy.
I, Madeline Bircher,
I, Madeline Bircher,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
I take this obligation freely and without mental reservation
that I take this obligation freely and without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Presenting Ensign Bircher, her cover and new shoulder boards are Zach Bircher, Joyce Riley, and Ensign Jack Woodworth. Ensign Madeline Bircher is from Lorton, Virginia, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in international studies. She will report to flight school in Pensacola, Florida as a student naval aviator. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensign Bircher.
We get pictures. This is what we get to embarrass you now. Right? Right? We get to embarrass him now?
Embarrass him right now, sir. Absolutely.
Okay, but I get to take one picture too. You know, I'm an admiral here. I get to at least do something, right? Okay. All right, Zach. Take a picture of all of you. Joyce, yeah, take a picture. Now you get in the middle. Sorry. Well, you come in later. All right. I know. I'm just doing a little embarrassing part. That's right. That's exactly what we got to do here.
You want me to save you now?
You call
Okay.
me next time.
Ensign Bircher will now receive her first salute from Midshipman First Class Eric Swanson. Midshipman Ryan Burke, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Barbara, Declan, and Corrine Burke. I will now administer Midshipman Burke his oath of office. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ryan Burke, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
to support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic.
I will bear true faith
Bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same.
and I take this obligation freely
Take this obligation freely
without any purpose of evasion
without any reservation
or purpose of evasion. And then I will well and faithfully
I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Presenting Ensign Burke his cover and new shoulder boards are Barbara, Declan, and Corrine Burke.
Good to go.
Ensign Ryan Burke is from Newmarket, Maryland, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in biological sciences. He will report to the USS Sterett, DDG 104, as an officer in training for surface warfare.
Should we get a picture?
Ensign Ryan Burke will now receive his first salute from Midshipman First Class Eric Swanson. Midshipman Connor Dimmitt, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Captain Andrew Hertel and JT, Andrea, and Brittany Dimmitt.
So is this one on? Yes, sir. It is.
I feel so special.
There, yeah, maybe they'll actually hear. Yeah, all right. Okay, do you want to come up here? Okay. After all this, all right. Midshipman Dimmitt, are you ready to take the oath of office?
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Connor Lloyd Dimmitt,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Ensign.
Thank you, sir.
Presenting Ensign Dimmitt with his cover and new shoulder boards are JT, Andrea, and Brittany Dimmitt. Ensign Connor Dimmitt is from Dallas, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in marketing. He will report to Flight Officer School in Pensacola, Florida as a student naval flight officer. Ensign Connor Dimmitt will now receive his first salute from Senior Airman Holly Dimmitt, United States Air Force. Midshipman Kevin Duke, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Lieutenant Commander David Duke, Joanne, Erica, and Brian Duke. His oath of office will be administered by his father, Lieutenant Commander David Duke, United States Navy, retired.
Raise your right hand. I state your full name.
I, Kevin Duke,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
Good job.
Presenting Ensign Duke with his cover and new shoulder boards are Joanne, Erica, and Brian Duke. Ensign Kevin Duke is from Oyster Bay, New York, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. He will report to the USS Boxer, LHD-4, this fall as an officer in training for surface warfare. Ensign Kevin Duke will now receive his first salute from his grandfather, Specialist Second Class Bill Glinsky, United States Army. Midshipman John Durkin, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Michael Durkin and John, Anne Marie, and Caitlin Durkin. His oath of office will be administered by his uncle, Captain Michael Durkin, United States Navy, retired.
Ready? Okay, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, state your full name,
I, John Michael Durkin,
having been appointed an ensign in the United States Navy,
having been appointed an ensign in the United States Navy,
support and defend the Constitution of the United States
support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office I'm about to enter.
will discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome to the fleet, Ensign.
Presenting Ensign Durkin with his cover and new shoulder boards are John, Anne Marie, and Caitlin Durkin. Ensign John Durkin is from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in international studies and Arabic language and literature. He will report to the USS Steedham, DDG 63, as an officer in training for surface warfare. Ensign John Durkin will now receive his first salute from Cryptological Technician Network Second Class, Michael I. Seaman. Midshipman Luke Smith, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Lieutenant Colonel John Smith and Joe Smith. His oath of office will be administered by his father, Lieutenant Colonel John Smith, United States Air Force, retired.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Luke Henry Smith,
I, Luke Henry Smith,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office in which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ensign Smith's cover and new shoulder boards will now be presented by his father and mother, Joe Smith.
You know what to do, right?
Ensign Luke Smith is from Havre de Grace, Maryland, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in geology. He will report to the USS Boxer, LHD-4, this fall as an officer in training for surface warfare.
No, I think we got a couple pictures.
Great.
Here's the Christians right there. You good? Alright, let me get my first salute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ensign Luke Smith will now receive his first salute from Sergeant Eric Plumpu, United States Marine Corps. Midshipman Samantha Ward, United States Marine Corps, will now be joined on stage by First Lieutenant Stephen Bolton and Thomas and Deborah Ward. Her oath of office will be administered by her fiancé, First Lieutenant Stephen Bolton, United States Marine Corps.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Samantha Ward,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Presenting Second Lieutenant Ward with her new insignia are Thomas and Deborah Ward. Second Lieutenant Samantha Ward is from Zirconia, North Carolina, and majored in psychology. She will report to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia. Second Lieutenant Ward will now receive her first salute from her uncle, Sergeant Tommy Cox, United States Marine Corps, retired. This is that awkward moment where I don't have anything to say, so you can just stare at me for a second, I guess. Gunny Sanchez. Guests of our recently commissioned officers, if you could now please exit the seated area and allow room for the next round of guests to take their seats. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure that Master Chief West is reminding you, but do not leave the area, ensigns and second lieutenants, because you haven't signed your oaths yet. Will the guests of Midshipman Jacob Burnett, Officer Candidate Jamie Bynum, Midshipman Ryan Doolin, Douglas Murphy, and Eric Olson please join us and take your seats? Ladies and gentlemen, given the number of seats that are available, if the guests of the remaining students would like to take their seats now as well. Does everyone see family and friends seated? No one's missing? Bernat, you're good? All right, Midshipman Jacob Bernat, United States Marine Corps, will now be joined on stage by Major Barry Morris, Jeannie Bernat, and Emily Phillips.
All right, young man, you ready to do this? Yes, sir. In 4 years. Right. Ma'am, how are you? Pleasure to meet you.
His oath of office will be administered by Major Barry Morris, United States Marine Corps, retired.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jacob Daniel Mark Bernat,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
of which I am about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Second Lieutenant.
Thank you, sir.
Presenting Second Lieutenant Bernat with his new insignia are Jean Bernat and Emily Phillips.
That's straight up and down.
Second Lieutenant Bernat is from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in chemistry. He will report to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia.
Is it good? Picture?
Yeah, well, it's his family.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Bernat. Officer candidate Jamie Bynum, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Captain Andrew Hertel, Byron and Elizabeth Bynum, and Alicia Goldsby.
We'll let the crew come up.
Hi. Here you go.
Not quite yet. We're not there yet.
Her oath of office will now be administered by Captain Andrew Hertel.
All right, Officer Candidate Bynum, are you ready? You want to go through?
Yes, sir.
All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name,
I, Jamie Bynum,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Ensign.
Thank you.
Presenting Ensign Bynum with her cover and new shoulder boards are Byron and Elizabeth Bynum and Alicia Goldsby. Ensign Jamie Bynum is from Goldsboro, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. She will report to the USS Farragut, DDG 99, as an officer in training for nuclear surface warfare. Ensign Jamie Bynum has received her first salute in memory of her grandfather, Staff Sergeant James Goldsby, United States Air Force. Midshipman Ryan Doolin, United States Marine Corps, will now be joined on stage by Colonel David Doolin and Judy and Eileen Doolin. His oath of office will now be administered by Colonel David Doolin, United States Marine Corps, retired.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Ryan James Doolin,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend the Constitution of the United States
to support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I take this obligation freely
and I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Presenting Second Lieutenant Doolin his new insignia are Judy and Eileen Doolin. Second Lieutenant Ryan Doolin is from Apex, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in criminology. He will report to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia. Second Lieutenant Ryan Doolin will now receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class James Baker, United States Army, retired. Midshipman Douglas Murphy, United States Marine Corps, will now be joined on stage by Lieutenant Colonel Walter Murphy and Mary Ann and Kimberly Murphy. His oath of office will now be administered by his father, Lieutenant Colonel Walter Murphy, United States Marine Corps, retired.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Douglas Murphy,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic.
Okay? I take this obligation freely
And I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office I'm about to enter.
of the office of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Second Lieutenant.
Presenting Second Lieutenant Murphy with his new insignia are Mary Ann and Kimberly Murphy.
Take your time, lady.
Second Lieutenant Douglas Murphy is from Chesapeake, Virginia, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in criminology. He will report to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia.
Okay, exit. Did you get the iPad?
Second Lieutenant Douglas Murphy will now receive his first salute from Sergeant Eric Plumpu, United States Marine Corps. Midshipman Eric Olson, United States Marine Corps, will now be joined on stage by Captain Matthew Olson and Dave and Carrie Olson. His oath of office will now be administered by his father, Captain Matthew Olson, United States Air Force.
Eric, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Eric Andrew Olson,
I, Eric Andrew Olson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office on which I'm about to enter.
of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Presenting Second Lieutenant Olson with his new insignia are Dave and Carrie Olson. Second Lieutenant Eric Olson is from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in business administration. He will report to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia.
Don't worry about it. All right, we're good.
Picture, Dad. Picture.
All right, here we go.
Second Lieutenant Eric Olson will now receive his first salute from Sergeant Eric Plumpu, United States Marine Corps. Now we get to share another awkward silence together. Will the guests of our recently commissioned officers please now exit the seated area and allow room for the next round of guests? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And will the guests of Officer Candidate Andre Baez, Midshipman Jacob Goswick, Bernardo Hernandez, Nicholas Lapointe, Walter Magda, and Johnny Pham please join us and take your seats? Officer Candidate Andre Baez, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Major Michael Arguello and Jessica, Amber, and Amelia Baez.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
His oath of office will now be administered by Major Michael Arguello, United States Marine Corps.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Andre Baez,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the office in which I'm about to enter.
in the office of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Ensign, and Semper Fidelis.
Thank you, sir.
Presenting Ensign Baez with his cover and new shoulder boards are Jessica, Amber, and Amelia Baez.
All right, can you take these off for me? Thank you. Oh, perfect. Huh?
Ensign Andre Baez is from Kissimmee, Florida, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. He will report to Navy Nuclear Power Training Command in Goose Creek, South Carolina, to begin training as a submarine warfare officer.
Sorry. Say, look at your sister. Look at
Come here. Come here, Amber, right here. Look at Titi.
Ready?
Ensign Andre Baez will now receive his first salute from Nuclear Electronics Technician First Class Christopher Keir.
We're gonna go down here, baby. Thank you for your help.
Midshipman Jacob Goswick, United States Marine Corps, will now be joined on stage by Captain Andrew Hertel and Melody, Stewart, and Rebecca Goswick.
Goswick, are you sure you want to go through with this?
Always, sir.
All right. We'll make sure your parents got here.
That doesn't
You're
sound
looking
very
sharp.
convincing. Thank you, sir. You didn't sound very convincing. Exactly.
Good morning. This is a pretty special day, isn't it? Excellent.
His oath of office will now be administered by Captain Andrew Hertel.
All right, Midshipman Goswick, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Jacob Goswick,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you, sir.
Presenting Second Lieutenant Goswick with his new insignia are Melody, Stewart, and Rebecca Goswick. Second Lieutenant Jacob Goswick is from Franklinton, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in political science. He will report to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia. Second Lieutenant Jacob Goswick will now receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class John Goswick, United States Army, retired. Midshipman Bernardo Hernandez, United States Marine Corps, will now be joined on stage by Major Michael Arguello, Gunnery Sergeant Cesar Navarro, and Gunnery Sergeant Mark Sanchez. His oath of office will now be administered by Major Michael Arguello.
Sir. I state your name.
I, Bernardo Hernandez.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
To support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
That I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
Of the office on which I'm about to enter.
Of the office on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant, and Semper Fidelis.
Thank you, sir.
Presenting Second Lieutenant Hernandez with his new insignia is Gunnery Sergeant Cesar Navarro.
Thanks, sir.
Second Lieutenant Bernardo Hernandez is from Shelby, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in psychology. He will report to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely. Right here?
Yep.
Second Lieutenant Hernandez will now receive his first salute from Gunnery Sergeant Mark Sanchez. Midshipman Nicholas Lapointe, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Captain James Lapointe and Laureen, Julianne, and Dr. Kimberly Lapointe. His oath of office will now be administered by his father, Captain James Lapointe, United States Navy, retired.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Nicholas James Lapointe,
I, Nicholas James Lapointe,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend the Constitution
to support and defend the Constitution
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, son.
Presenting Ensign Lapointe with his cover and new shoulder boards are Lauren, Julianne, and Dr. Kimberly Lapointe. Ensign Nicholas Lapointe is from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. He will report to flight school in Pensacola, Florida as a student naval aviator.
be honored if you would carry me.
Picture.
Ensign Nicholas Lapointe will now receive his first salute from Cadet Emma Cornelius. Midshipman Walter Magda, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Lieutenant Colonel David Morgan, Jill and Sophia Magda, and Brenna Cravens.
Thank you, sir.
His oath of office will now be administered by Lieutenant Colonel David Morgan, United States Marine Corps, retired.
Mr. Magda, if you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, sir. I state your name. I, Walter Martin Magda III. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. Support and defend. To support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. Foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith. That I will bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. And allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. Or purpose of evasion. That I will well and faithfully. That I will well and faithfully. Discharge the duties. Discharge the duties. Of the office. Of the office. Upon which I'm about to enter. Upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations, Ensign Magda. 20 mom back to 11,219 days since I'm better off for it.
Presenting Ensign Magda with his cover and new shoulder boards are Jill Magda, Sophia Magda, and Brenna Cravens. Ensign Walter Magda is from Monroe, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. He will report to the Navy Nuclear Power Training Command in Goose Creek, South Carolina, as an officer in training for submarine warfare.
Pictures? You bet. I waited 11,000 days for this.
Ensign Walter Magda will now receive his first salute from Sergeant Major Matthew Brookshire, United States Marine Corps, retired. Midshipman Johnny Pham, United States Navy, will now be joined on stage by Lieutenant Colonel David Morgan, Ty and Benson Pham, and Fong Nguyen. His oath of office will now be administered by Lieutenant Colonel David Morgan, United States Marine Corps, retired.
Mr. Pham, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Johnny Pham,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
That I will support and defend.
that I will support and defend
The Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States
Against all enemies.
against all enemies,
Foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
upon
which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Ensign Fam. 11,000
Thank you.
Presenting Ensign Pham with his cover and new shoulder boards are Ty and Benson Pham and Fong Nguyen. Ensign Johnny Pham is from Matthews, North Carolina, and is graduating with a bachelor's degree in political science. He will report to the USS Tortuga, LSD 46, as an officer in training for surface warfare.
Nhìn cái máy cho mẹ, nhìn cái máy vàng rồi.
Ensign Johnny Pham will now receive his first salute from Lance Corporal Kenneth Canup, United States Marine Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in one round of applause for our new second lieutenants and ensigns. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of Anchors Aweigh, the Marines hymn, and please remain standing for the departure of the official party. Rear Admiral, United States Navy, departing. North Carolina Piedmont Region Consortium, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you very much for your attendance.